So today we're going to be doing a 5 best and 5 worst, a classic series that I do here on my channel that I haven't done in like a year. Bad, Jamie. It's also one of my favorite series, so I don't know where a year went, how this happened, but I'm sorry. And I'm here to make it up to you. I have been trying out so many new products over the last couple of weeks, and I have very strong feelings, both in the positive and in the negative direction. And I wanted to do a 5 best and 5 worst for some of the new products that I have been loving and not so much loving. I would also really love to revive the 5 best, 5 worst series because it's just a good one. So please let me know what you would want to see next, whether that's a brand, a category, a theme. Let me know. So we're gonna start off with my 5 favorite products. And at the very top, the number one favorite product that I've discovered over the last little bit is without a doubt the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. So if you know anything about me, you know that I have dry skin. And I really do prefer foundations that obviously cater to my dry skin, but I tend to go towards more dewy, hydrating, lightweight, light to medium coverage foundations. The Face Bond, as described, is kind of the exact opposite. It's a soft matte finish that's ultra long wearing and has like a medium to full coverage. I really cannot say enough good things about this product, and it's so unlike other soft matte foundations that I've tried. First of all, the texture is stunning. It is super lightweight, very, very, very thin, and it's so lightweight that you barely even feel it on your face. It is so smoothing. I find that it makes my skin look so perfected and poreless. So it really gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you the lightweight texture of like a skin tint, but with full coverage. And it gives you that serum-like hydrating feel, but it self-sets, so you don't need to set it with powder. Okay, you guys know I love to chat, so I'm just gonna stop talking and actually show you what it looks like on the face. I use the shade 12 Light Neutral. And actually, before I do that, I'm just going to very quickly moisturize my skin because I just took off a full face of makeup and I have not yet put on moisturizer. So this is my Ombriolise cream. And I'm also gonna spray some of the Summer Fridays Jet Lag Skin Soothing Hydration Mist. I find this gives such a good like dew to the skin. When I apply this, I pretty much just draw a couple squiggles all over my face, and that's all that I use. A little bit of this stuff really does go a long way. And I'm gonna blend it out with a foundation brush. This is my Rare Beauty foundation brush. The moment that I fully fell in love with this product is when I wore it to the Sabrina Carpenter concert. I put it on 8 hours before the concert, and I definitely put that foundation to the test because I was dancing all night long and I was sweating a lot. And when I got back home that night, my skin still looked pretty much as it did when I first applied it. This isn't really a foundation that I necessarily wear for day to day. It's a little bit more coverage than I would typically go for, but for events or for just like going out, this has been my go-to. I typically like to avoid looking at my skin in the ultra magnified part of my mirror because it's normally a little bit jarring, to say the least. I'm not kidding. Whenever I put on this foundation, I will stare at the ultra magnified part of my mirror just to look at how my pores have simply disappeared. I mean, I feel like the camera is going to be able to capture it. I'm hoping it will. And it has the most beautiful finish, but it does not look heavy. It doesn't look cakey. It's not attaching to dry patches. It is just so, so, so flattering. And this is really a foundation that I could see working for pretty much every skin type. And the fact that I don't necessarily have to set it with powder for it to last and to look good for hours and hours and hours and hours is like the cherry on top of the sundae. Right, moving on to another complexion product that I am equally as impressed by. This is the new MAC Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer. There are so many serum-like hydrating concealers out there. I feel like every single brand has released their own version over the last year, and I've tried what feels like almost all of them. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good, but the ones that are good are kind of like very similar to one another. There might be small changes between them, but they're all kind of the same but different. But once in a while, I'll try a new formula and be surprised because it's not like every other concealer on the market that's in that category. And that's how I feel about this new MAC concealer. I'm gonna try my best to describe what this concealer is like because it's almost indescribable. It's one of those things where you really have to feel it to understand. It has pretty much, I would say, like a medium to full coverage, leaning on like the fuller side. As you can see, it pretty much completely covers up my veins on my hand over here. But the texture of this concealer is mind-blowing because it feels almost like water. I don't even feel the product underneath my finger pads. Like it's really the weirdest sensation. I just have never tried something that has this type of coverage, but that also is so lightweight that it literally doesn't even feel or look like it's on the skin. And then on top of that, it has a really natural finish. It just has a really light sheen to it, so it looks really fresh. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. You have really high coverage, but you have like a very natural looking finish and an almost not even there texture. Like I said, kind of hard to describe, but I'm gonna show you and hopefully you'll be able to at least see what I mean. I'm gonna do one dot in the crease of my eye, one dot on the outer corner of my eye. And normally I would conceal around my face if I wasn't wearing the Urban Decay foundation, but the coverage of this is so good I kind of feel like I don't need to, but I'm gonna brighten just a bit just so you guys can see how this looks on the face as well. And I'm just gonna do one side just so you can see the difference between both sides. And I'm gonna blend this out with my favorite concealer brush. This is the MAC 270S. And especially if you're using like a thinner concealer texture like this one, really going to make everything look nice and flawless. Okay, do you see how that just blended so seamlessly into my skin? That took 3 seconds and it looks flawless. I feel like it's been a while since MAC has released a concealer as good as this one. Again, a lot of different skin types would really be able to enjoy this. Especially if you have a lot of fine lines underneath your eyes, this would be such a good option because it is so thin. It's not going to settle as much in the fine lines underneath your eyes. And it is like, I don't want to say it's self-setting because it doesn't claim to be, but I feel like it is self-setting. Anytime I could skip powder, it's always a good thing. I feel like it's what concealer dreams are made of, not to be too dramatic. Number 3, speaking of powder, I do actually have a powder that I have been loving, and this is another surprising product for me because this is not typically a type of product that I favor. So this is the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder. It is a loose setting powder, and I do like loose setting powders, but I always prefer a pressed powder because I just find that they're less mattifying, less cakey. It's the nature of loose powders to be a little bit on the heavier side, and especially for day to day, I really do prefer a pressed, but with the exception of this powder, I've actually been using this every day over something like my Kosas Cloud Set or the new Tower 28 powder, which both of those I really like, but this has been my number one because it just gives, again, like that perfected, smoothed look to the skin without being too heavy. And my favorite way to apply this powder is actually with a puff. So I take the puff, dab it very lightly in the loose powder, and then I press the powder into the puff. Then I flick it a couple times to get rid of any loose powder. It's a little bit of a process, but it really does make a difference, especially if you don't want it to look too heavy. And then I take my powdered puff and I just press and roll on all the areas that I want to set. Now, again, with these particular base products, I honestly typically would not even put powder on because I don't feel like I need it. But for foundations or concealers that I feel like I do want a powder, this has just been perfection because it makes my skin look so smooth. Typically just put it on my under eyes and then towards like the center of my face. I'm not normally like a loose powder lover, but the Makeup by Mario loose powder has kind of converted me. She's really good. All right, I'm just gonna quickly pop on a little bit of bronzer before we move on to the next product. I am obsessed with this. This is the Makeup Forever HG Skin Blush and Glow Palette. If you are a cream lover, please let me introduce you to your new favorite palette. First of all, she's so cute and small, just about the size of the palm of my hand. You open her up, 12 creams are in here. You got 6 blushes, 6 highlighters, all really versatile, beautiful shades. They're just sheer enough to make them very wearable and very buildable. And my favorite way to use these is to basically layer them all on my face at the same time. And because they are more on the sheer side, it really allows you to do that very easily. Just to give you an idea before I apply it on my cheeks, swatched, it looks very pigmented, but once it's actually blended, you can see that it shears out very easily and is very almost gel-like in texture. So I'm going to apply a couple shades on my cheeks today. I'm first gonna go in with the reddish shade, which is actually my favorite in the palette. And I'm just gonna put a couple dots more on like my cheekbone area, kind of avoiding the apple of my cheek because I'm gonna put another color there. And now I'm gonna go into the coral shade and the rosy pink, and I'm just gonna mix the two together. This has been like my go-to combo with this palette. And I just put that brighter combo on the apple of my cheek. And then even taking a little bit of the cool tone pink and layering that. It is almost hard not to use every single color in here. And the highlighters are gorgeous, very like glossy, natural looking, but still with the pop type of cream highlighters. I actually like to just take the same brush, grab one of the shades and just layer it more so on like the highlight portion of my cheek. So like right over here. So I'm not really like pinpointing it with my finger, although obviously you can. This is just a really quick and easy way to get a very blushy highlighted look. Stunning. So all in all, this is just such a fun palette to play with. I love it so much. At number 5, we have the gel eyeliners from Kosas. These are called the Soul Gazer Intensifying Gel Eyeliners. They pretty much just check the box of what you want in an eyeliner pencil. Colors that they come in are rich and pigmented. They glide on super, super effortlessly. They are also incredibly long wearing. I actually swatched these on my hand right at the beginning of the day, and I've washed my hand probably about 5 times, and they are still not off of my hand. These set down and they do not move. You wanna know that the wing that you put on at the beginning of the day is not gonna end up over here by the end of the day. Honestly, all the colors are gorgeous. My most used are definitely the brown and the black. Brown especially is like the most perfect chocolatey, rich, deep brown. I'm gonna use the brown today to show you guys how it applies. I always like to do just a little baby wing on my lash line. And because it's a pencil, it's super forgiving. And you can very easily correct your mistakes. Like if you find that liquid eyeliner is a little bit intimidating, but you like the intensity of liquid eyeliner, these are a great alternative because it will give you that same intensity, but it is definitely more forgiving. I pretty much just scribble on my eye, and then I take my finger and I just run it along the edge, which sharpens it up before it sets down. And then I take the other side and the little smudger tool, which is this really weird rubbery thing, and I just run it along the edge just to smooth and soften. Okay, I'm gonna pop on some mascara, do my brows, and then we will be back to talk about my 5 least favorite products. Now that all the fabulous things are on my face, let's talk about all the things that have disappointed me. The first product might be a little bit controversial because I feel like this is very widely loved. I just don't fully understand why. I've mentioned this before, and I just needed to mention it again because I tried a new flavor, color of the Rhode Peptide Lip Tint, and it's the espresso color. And I feel like this was one of the most popular colors that they had released. And it was one that I was actually really excited to try because it was so hyped up. And I just recently tried it and I still feel the exact same. I just don't understand why these are so incredibly hyped up because to me, they are quite basic. Every single Rhode lip tint that I've tried has a grainy texture. And I know the grainy texture is not supposed to be there. I remember that this was actually an issue that they had when they first launched. And I thought that this was already fixed. Like I thought that they probably would have figured it out by now because I know it was a wide issue. It wasn't just happening to me. And this is a brand new tube and it unfortunately still is grainy. I don't know if every single tube is like this or I'm just lucky enough that I've experienced this multiple times, but it's not great. Obviously. Okay, before I get to my second point, I'm just gonna put this on so that you guys can have a visual. So, this is what the lip tint looks like on. It is brown, and because of that cool tone brown tint, I actually feel like it gives a very light grayish tint to the lips, but that's just on my lips personally. This obviously will depend on like the initial undertone of your lips. I just don't feel like it's the most flattering color, and there's also not much color to it at that. I also wish that this formula was a lot juicier than it is. I have tried what feels like every single balmy lip tint on the market, and there are so many out there that are exactly like this and that are also much, 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 much better. I think what is so exciting about this is really like just the vibe around this product and the aesthetic around this product. I mean, they even have a phone case for this product that fits this product perfectly so you could carry your Rhode lip tint with you everywhere, which by the way is absolutely genius. I just don't think that objectively, like as a product, it's anything special. I think there's so many other balmy lip tints that are juicier, that feel better on the lips, that don't have a grainy texture, okay, and that have a better tint and that actually smell really good. I would have loved for this to have an espresso scent, and unfortunately, it does not. So all in all, this really just falls so flat for me. I don't understand the hype, and I'm just disappointed by it once again. So let me know if you guys agree. Maybe you absolutely love your Rhode lip tints and I'm just silly. So Milk released a new version of their Hydro Grip and Glow Primer, and it's a glowy version. And when I saw that they released this, I was actually super excited because the Grip Primer is one of my favorites. I'm not the biggest primer person unless I feel like it actually makes a difference in one part of my makeup application, and the Grip Primer is one of the few primers that I feel like really does do something. It grips onto your foundation, it makes it last so much longer, and it's just simply effective. So I thought it was really cool that they came out with a glowy version of the primer until I tried it. Unfortunately, Milk decided to put a whole lot of shimmer and sparkle inside of this. There's so much shimmer that it literally just looks like a very intense highlighter. And this is a primer, right? Like, this is not meant to just apply just to the tops of the cheekbones. You're meant to put this all over your face. So in the end, after applying a really shimmery primer all over to your face, you're gonna end up looking just sparkly everywhere. And not only is it sparkly, but it has a very intense kind of metallic sheen to it. So it kind of gives you that Tin Man look. On top of all of this, because it is a grippy primer, and it has that tackiness to it, I find that the shimmery bits and like the metallic sheen attaches to your dry patches in a little bit of a weird way. And I do not experience that with the regular grip primer, but I think because of the pigment in this, it just kind of happens. I really hope that the cameras would be able to pick it up, but it is like reflective on the back of my hand. It is so shiny, so shimmery, and it's very golden as well and very warm. So it will not only add that like shimmer and glow, but it's also gonna lightly tint the skin as well and add that warmth. So just overall, I just feel like they kind of missed the mark on this one. I really wish it would have been a lot more subtle. I think it would have been way more exciting and way more versatile as well. I just don't feel like this really makes much sense for a primer product. This is the Hourglass Unreal Liquid Blush, and I actually love this product. This liquid blush is stunning. It is very serumy, it gives a beautiful glow. Problem with this is actually the packaging. The packaging ruins the entire thing for me. In order to dispense the product through this little spout over here, you have to press this rubber button on the back. You know, I didn't think that would be much of an issue, but I have longish nails and I literally cannot push it with my finger without my nails hitting the side, so I'm not able to get to it with just my finger. And in order for me to be able to actually press it down with enough force that it comes out, I have to use my knuckle, which isn't the biggest deal until you realize that you need to use both hands to be able to do that, because one hand needs to be holding it, the other hand needs to be pushing down. So where am I dispensing it, you might ask? On my leg is the answer. Whenever I would use this blush, I would literally just dispense a small amount on my leg because I didn't know where else to do it. Like, I would have to have some type of palette in front of me, which frankly, I just don't have. So to go through all of that trouble just to use a blush when I could pick any other blush in my collection and just slap it on is just ridiculous. And I don't want to do that. And it makes me upset because the actual product is amazing. Like, it is so nice. And I just wish so badly that Hourglass didn't decide to do such a ridiculous component. The West Min Atelier Concealer. I actually don't have it with me to show you guys because I ended up returning it. I disliked it that much. Tried it so many times, tried to make it work. It was a $65 concealer, and so my expectations were ultra high. It's described as a very skincare focused concealer. The consistency of the concealer I felt was a little bit tacky and hard to blend, and I just didn't find that it ever really meshed very nicely with my skin. It always looked very visible. It looked like it was sitting on top of my skin. It just kind of looked too obvious. That's really all I got to say about it. I don't even have it here to show you guys, but I did want to mention it. It is definitely on my no thank you list. Not a fan. The very last product that I wanted to mention is actually not a makeup product, but it is a perfume. This is a perfume that I was super excited to try. It is the Replica Afternoon Delight. When they first announced this and I read all of the notes, I really thought that this was going to be my new fall scent because it's a vanilla focused perfume and I love vanilla focused perfumes. The notes in here are Madagascar vanilla, Madeleine Accord, and sandalwood. And when I first smelled this, I was immediately just so disappointed. When it comes to vanilla or any sweet perfume, I really prefer them to be complex. I want them to have something that makes them a little bit different. I don't want them to be too flat or too one note. And as soon as I smelled this, I was immediately disappointed because that's exactly what I got out of it. I feel like it is a very, very flat, very one note fragrance. It kind of just smells like vanilla, and that's it, but not even great vanilla. It's there slightly, but I actually smell more coconut than anything else. And it also has an alcohol, note to it. Alcohol as in rubbing alcohol. And then on top of all of that, it has like almost no staying power. It lasts for literally 3 seconds. I will say that obviously perfumes are so subjective and what I like you may hate, but if you're looking for a vanilla perfume and you're considering this one, just know that you're not really gonna get a lot of vanilla when you smell this. If I had to describe this, it smells like a hint of vanilla with some coconut and a little bit of soap and that rubbing alcohol. And I love replica fragrances. There's so many that I love and use all the time, like By the Fireplace is one of my favorites, but this one just really missed the mark for me. And that's it, everybody. Those are my 5 favorite and my 5 least favorite new products as of late. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing about all of my thoughts. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.